All right. Well, we'll call the Ways and Means Committee to order at 3 p.m. Let the record reflect that Councilwoman Navarez Martinez is on her way. And so with that, I'm going to bring us to our minutes.
Sure. I would move the minutes of April 16th, 2026.
Oh, it's a great motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes. All right. At this time, are there any public comments that would like to share, or anyone on virtually as well?
Okay, quickly then.
Yeah. If you don't mind signing in as well, and then the floor is yours.
Well, Kathleen raised her hand.
Oh, and yeah.
I mean, you can go first either way.
Oh, no. Are you settled, Fred? You have everything you need right now? Well, how about you go ahead and sign in, and I'll give.
A few seconds.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have Councilwoman Navarez Martinez here. Go ahead, Director Edgerly. Floor is yours.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Kathleen Edgerly, Executive Director of Downtown Lansing, Inc. Wanted to come here today on behalf of not only our organization, but the local merchants and businesses that we represent within District A of the PSD. We have been having ongoing conversations with city administration regarding some requests on behalf of our business owners that build on what's being proposed in terms of parking changes for the district and other areas of the city, and would request that in addition to what's presented in front of you, you also consider a request of additional marked loading zones, as well as waiving the first 15 minutes of parking within downtown as well as Old Town.
Thank you. All right.
James Lennon, Executive Director of the Old Town Commercial Association. I just wanted to take a moment to echo what Kathleen had to say. And again, thank Raleigh and his team for being fantastic partners in the communication process and discussion over the parking issues in Old Town and downtown Lansing. And yes, to echo those sentiments, 15 free minutes of parking would be fantastic. Loading and unloading zones. I just wanted to highlight maybe one of our businesses in Old Town. We have Bradley's is a furniture store and currently lacking that loading and unloading zone, which would be just an amazing addition to that sidewalk area for his customers, for their customers there to unload that furniture. As you can imagine, it's a problem. And then, yeah, the 15 free minutes, and then the enforcement window. I understand that we're shortening on the front side of the window. Would ask that we shorten on the tail end side of that window, maybe a 9 to 5 window. So appreciate your time, and thanks Raleigh and team for the communication.
Fred, the floor is yours.
Okay.
Come to the table if you need to.
Okay. Wow.
You can state your last name also, just for the record.
Okay. Well, it's Fred McLaughlin, McLaughlin. Over the last quite a number of months, actually, I've been trying to get familiar with the city's financial elements, so I can better understand. I mean, I'm basically pretty clueless about it, but I've run across a program that does a pretty good job of organizing information that comes out of the ACFR, the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. And what it does is it brings elements together in categories that speak to various trends that occur within the budget or within the financial process of the city. So it goes beyond, it pulls figures out of the financial report for about the last 15 years is a good example to make use of. And it speaks to trends that have to do with sustaining the current situation of the city, how well it's performing in various ways, its ability to have flexibility within that sustained condition. And also, it keeps track of trends that relate to how vulnerable the city might be. You know, what is it trapped in some way? And in so doing, these indicators are referred to as sustainability indicators, flexibility indicators, and vulnerability. Under sustainability indicators, and this is after having drawn total assets, total liabilities, net position, and total government transfers out of the standard ACFR. And under sustainability, it tracks net financial position, financial assets to total liabilities, total assets to total liabilities, and also net debt to total revenues. And it tracks those trends so you can see how they're performing. So it's not just a raw, here's all the data, but here are some of the implications based on these trends. Under flexibility indicators, it keeps track of and tracks for 15 years or more as are still in the proper format to fit into the document. It tracks interest to total revenues. It tracks net book value to the cost of TCAs, tangible capital assets, and also under assessing the vulnerability indications of vulnerability for the city. It tracks government transfers to total revenues. So I just wanted to make mention of this. It comes from an organization that is the original concept was by a fellow who is a transportation engineer. He's also an urban planner, and he has brought himself together with people who are experts in municipal finance. That's where the program comes from. So I'll swamp you with that. And then I can, you know, if there's any interest here, I'd also like to make a brief comment about parking. These folks have also come up with, or actually not these folks, but another fellow who used to be the dean of urban planning with UCLA. He came up with a great idea for parking. He said, you've got to performance price parking that's curbside parking. And what he means by that is make sure that it performs in such a way that it's priced enough that there are always one or two spaces available. So you'll have a lot less driving, a lot less fumes, a lot less, you know, you can sort of extrapolate from that going on. But also all the money that comes into those meters goes not to the city. It goes directly to the people whose businesses face out on that street. And they can make use of that in any way they want. Some of them have improved the street frontage, added plantings. It doesn't go into their businesses. It doesn't go beyond the facade of the business. So it doesn't go into their pockets in that sense. It's to improve the street frontage. And I thought it was a pretty worthy, and sadly, he passed away just late this last year. The fellow who came up with that idea. He's got a book out. It's called The High Cost of Free Parking. Great book to read if you've got time to read an 800-page book.
Wow. And I have Strong Towns.
Oh, yeah, Strong Towns is the name of the organization. So there's a lot of meat behind this, and I'm just, I've come far enough to be able to read this off and read out an outline and have some sense of what it's speaking to. But it basically considers figures that are in the city's existing documents. It provides access to those figures in a way that it organizes the ability to see various kinds of trends that are going on. And it would be a really important element, I think, to add to the city's annual financial consideration of where we are and where we might want to go based on trends that we're seeing.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, so we will move on to our discussion action items. We have B, the ordinance to amend chapter 404, section 404.04E, modify metered parking hours of enforcement. Councilmember Spatafor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I sent around earlier this morning or this afternoon, and there in your packet is an amendment to this ordinance, changing the hours from 9 AM. Well, the ordinance as presented was 9 AM to 6 PM. The amendment will be 9 AM to 5 PM. So that will be, I will offer first, move the amendment.
That's a proper motion. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right,
Now I will move the ordinance.
so I can.
Do whatever you want.
Right, okay, so I agree, okay. I agree with your amendment from 9 to 5. I know previously back in March 19th, I believe, Hal, you and Brian was here and we had discussed the 15-minute grace period. And I understand that there's some technical pieces to it as well, and it was supposed to be something long-term.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Actually, Raleigh and I talked this morning.
Okay.
and I asked him to be prepared to talk on this.
Oh,
So, yeah.
perfect, perfect. So I know that there was some conversation of, it's in the process, it was part of the study or whatnot. But I know that that has been a strong priority, opportunity for our residents. And second to that, the loading zone. So I know there's some opportunity for the loading zone. We obviously have public comment today and during public hearing back on, what was that? The 23rd of having those loading zones. And I know we kind of spoke a little bit more on that too, to have designated areas for that. What would the time frame be to enforce that, where we have twofold, the 15-minute grace period, and then also adding loading zones within the district?
Timeframe to enforce? I don't know if I understand.
Well, to change the meter piece where we have a 15-minute grace period.
Sure. Well, let me just give a general update on the 15-minute, maybe that, because I'm not
Thank you.
not sure I still follow the question, but in general, you heard at your previous meeting from the deputy director and the parking services manager that we've been working on this concept with our two vendors. And so we do have an update to share today. So we have a vendor who manages our kiosks, and then we have a vendor who manages our app, pay by app system. The kiosk vendor, we are able to move forward with a free 15-minute per once a day per license plate at no cost to the city. And so that's just a green light from us, maybe some contract amendments, and then it's a lot of behind the scenes from the vendor side of things. Might 3 to 5 weeks for that to be implemented once that green lit. Again, it's to utilize the kiosk to pay for your spot. You would then be offered free 15 minutes per your license plate, and that would only be, you would only be able to claim that 15 minutes once a day at this point and what they're able to offer us.
Okay.
For the pay by app, they can also offer a free 15 minutes per plate once a day, but the city will have to eat the transaction fee because that is the basis of their business. So they can't offer us free on that note, because again, that transaction fee is how they make money as a business, so they can't offer that free. And so we have an estimate of what that may be. We're still analyzing that in terms of budget implications to be able to report out to you all. And it may look like tentatively a potential pilot program if we can find within the department to absorb that expense and then report out a year later the actual usage of what that transaction fee would be to see if that becomes a budget priority of council in some way or form in terms of payment. But what makes me excited is at least our kiosk provider can offer it at no cost. And so perhaps with the right amount of signage, the right partnerships with OTCA and DLI and their members, we can at least see that becomes successful. And so our hope still, and I believe the deputy director and manager shared at the last meeting, is by the end of this fiscal year is to see those options implemented.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. I have one comment, one question. One comment I'll make is this, I'm pretty excited about this because I think, sounds like we could make the 15 minutes happen pretty fast. I would be very interested in a pilot program and then maybe talking down the road. And this is not going to it'll catch James off guard, but it won't catch Kathleen off guard. I had floated with the idea with Raleigh and the mayor that we go through the pilot program and at the end we see if downtown businesses, OTCA businesses found value in it, and perhaps we can find a way to share the cost of that free parking among the benefited businesses and districts. I'm not saying that's where we'd go, but it's a thought to think about if this is a value. We can, of course, always steer people towards the kiosk, but that was one of my thoughts where we have this program that is benefiting the businesses, perhaps that they want some skin in the game. I know a lot of businesses pay for parking for their customers, so this might be a way to help ease the burden on our budget. But I appreciate that Raleigh has been looking at a lot of ways to make this happen. And then my question was, is this something that is just in specific zones or would it be system wide? So if we activate the free 15 minutes, is it everywhere you pay to park or is it just in specific zones or both?
My belief, without conferring with Hal, is that we can decide that.
Okay.
We've approached this with anywhere there's a kiosk and or meter or zone, that this would then apply. That's the direction we've taken. If to the extent that we want to talk about it in this meeting, if you want to see that more refined and just to impact downtown zones and old town zones, we can talk about it. But there's not many zones and kiosks outside of that anyways. And so for our end, I think for implementation, we were just considering all of the above.
That makes sense. I was just curious, mostly how it worked.
Sure.
I have a question.
Please.
So one of the things that we've also been approached about was the, like folks that do DoorDash and stuff.
Right.
And if it's one license, like plate per day. So I wondered, is there a way to have like one that isn't included in the app and it just call it the DoorDash or like whatever, for people that are just in and out for that at some of our restaurants down here?
We can talk with her. It'd have to be a vendor discussion, and that's really the controlling arm here. Is it's their technology. What can they do for us? And so
I was thinking like leaving it off of the technology. So like a spot that's not numbered and in their system. It's
Sure.
just an empty spot.
So-
All that, you know what I mean?
I do. The way I would clarify though, the way we do our parking isn't by space, it's by license plate. So it's a zone that includes 15 spaces or so. And the way the system knows that you're in a space, yeah, they don't know that you're in this space closest to the peanut shop versus on the other side. They just know your plate is in that zone.
If I may.
Yeah. It's, sorry, it's on my.
One of
Yeah.
the other things is it's up more and more now is what's called curb management, and that reaches out to what you're talking about here. So with our particular equipment where we're doing things by plate number, we should be able to adjust that plate and say, okay, this particular plate can get 2 or 3 times per day. Or this particular plate can get once every half an hour or something like that. The thing is with a lot of these, we're trying to make sure that we're servicing everybody, but we're not getting taken advantage of.
Right.
So most of these will allow us to make changes. So you can say, okay, if you use your 15 minutes here, you can use it again another 2 hours or 3 hours, or if it comes down to a day, it's a day. So that's one of the things. We're looking at curb management right now, but we don't have the usage available to us to really make it worth our while.
Along the same lines, a couple years back, we spent some time on a downtown resident street parking permit, and then we changed parking rules, so it doesn't really apply anymore. Is there maybe a space to build out a permit that a gig economy worker could purchase from the city that allows them to do sort of loading zone parking downtown versus loading zones?
I think it's a possibility. I think maybe that's to Hal's point of the curb management. If we can get to that way, then I think on our end as a policy, we have to figure out what's that enrollment to say, I'm a DoorDash driver, make my plate to the councilwoman's point, eligible for free 15 minutes all over the place type of thing. I think we've got to, further refine what the vendors have provided to us thus far, which is the plate per day, and see to Hal's point, what additional investment from the city do we get that true curb management I think we're all talking about.
I appreciate that we found a solution.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't solve the problem I went to lunch, I had my lunch, and then I later that afternoon, I wanted to go to the peanut shop, but at that point, maybe stay a little while and
Sure.
park and things like that. So I'm happy with that answer.
Your second question on the loading zones, from my office, we're still looking at that. You know, we do have some loading zones in our downtown. We are hearing that we don't have enough. And so I think the way we've approached this, we wanted to answer the 15-minute first, because that will also be a benefit, I hope, to some of the folks needing that loading zone ability. Again, at this point, they'd only be able to do it once per day in that effect. But we can work with public service, continue to find ideas to offer more loading zones. The more loading zones we offer, though, is a lot of revenue loss on our site. So that's where we're running those numbers. Not to say that we're afraid of that conversation, but you guys have just gone through your weeks of budget, and you know that parking is an enterprise fund. So any elimination of a paid parking spot is a loss to their revenue, and we have to make that up somehow. Or better yet, we need your help as the legislative body to make that revenue up for us.
And it's a kind of a back and forth in between. If we put in the loading zone, we take away the space for the customer.
Yes.
So, you want to make sure that you're trying to equalize this as much as possible. I know in your particular situation, they did a parking study, I think in 23. And I don't know that they ever even discussed the situation with loading zones. So it's something that we'd have to go back to public service and say, hey, guys, I think you missed a part. And hopefully we get this done properly and quickly.
Sure. So still on our agenda, still being worked through. I don't know that we will have a proposal for you by the end of the fiscal year on new loading zones, but we will continue to update this committee. Absolutely.
No, I definitely would love to have the administration look at the pilot piece for the 15-minute
To the app, yeah.
through the app. And then I'm glad to hear that the kiosk is also easier lift.
Yeah.
And then again, still reviewing what that loading zone aspect would look like, so that our businesses can fluctuate when it comes to their delivery. I think that would be amazing to see. And then learning a little bit more about that curb management, that would be great. So with that, I will, if there's no other further questions from the committee, I will entertain a motion with the amendment, though, of the 9 a.m. through 5 p.m. Monday through Friday.
So moved.
Proper motion. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Passes. Thank you. And we will be moving on to discussion item C, the ordinance amend chapter 404, section 404-03, allow payment of reduced rate for an expired meter violation until midnight of the day issuance.
I would move the ordinance.
So, any further discussion?
Just, I mean, for the record, this again allows folks a longer window of time to pay the reduced rate and clarifies that you don't have to always stop by Parking Violations Bureau to do it. So
Yes, absolutely. Any other discussion? Seeing, oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to explore looking at when we have those fines increase to see if we could try and figure out if we can give a little bit more flexibility. Like if someone gets a parking ticket today and they're running low on cash, they're not going to be able to even do this thing, but give them at least like an opportunity for a pay period to come along before their fine gets increased. And so I don't know if that's, so right now it's what, 14 days before they go up, or what's the window?
It goes until,
14. I think it was 14.
And that goes up the next day.
In theory, yeah, so I don't know if it could be like a couple more days flexibility there. But that'll be, I guess, a conversation for another.
Yeah, we did pull, Raleigh, do you have?
Go ahead.
We did pull the fines and fees back on the 23rd. So when we come back to council, all 4 of
Okay.
the parking meter pieces will be up for discussion.
That'll be this Monday.
This Monday.
Yeah.
Any other questions, discussion from the committee?
Nope.
All right, that was a proper motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Oppose? Passes. Moving on to item D, the resolution introduction and set a public hearing to amend chapter 218 to provide for a creation and semi-annual update of a city tax and debt dashboard.
I would move the resolution, and the ordinance we're looking at is direct response to a new charter provision that requires the development of a tax and debt dashboard on a public webpage. Includes a breakdown of every millage the city levies, property taxes, debt, special assessments, rates, dollar amounts, that kind of thing. And a breakdown of every city debt instrument, bonds, revenue bonds, special assessments with principal, interest, and payment schedules. It's supposed to go live August 1, 2026. So we've got a little time to get this enacted and then updated twice a year by August 1 and February 1. This was due to council by May 1. The mayor satisfied that requirement. So we're now taking it. And then just as a side note, there are a few handful of ordinances coming our way in response to the new charter, but this is the first one. Sorry?
There are several.
Yeah.
Now
there's
it's-
several. So this is the first, and it has a timeline of August 1, 2026 to be implemented. So with that, I would move the resolution, set the public hearing.
Any other discussion? Proper motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And so that hearing will be set on May 11th, so that's Monday. And then hearing on May 18th. Just for the record. It's-
And just, I wanted to, as a heads up, next Ways and Means, we have that grant acceptance for the pod money from Bingham County that we tabled until then, and that'll be after budget. So I'll be moving on table that next time.
Thank you. Is there any other items for discussion? Right, there's no other business before the body. We are adjourned at 3:26.
Thank you, Alan
Our
Rollins.
longer meeting.
I know, gosh, we gotta